Your buddy, your buddy, your buddy.
How'd you do with the cake in your room? Yeah.
Your buddy, your buddy, your buddy.
The Lord has you hold on. Her voice trembling. Got a face tension. You got this into the ones we took earlier? I got. Two strangers at my door, and shadows in the night. Sitting from the rumors, but their eyes were blind. They said they came with purging and sent across the land. So I hit them on top with the trigger. Acting soldiers and my young walk towering around us. We were wanting more. I'd heard of your guy, how we dried up the sea. So I was my life, hoping he'd remember me. I said, show me mercy, save my home. Swear to me I won't stand alone when the trumpets sound and the city falls. Lay your God, remember my scarlet wall. Hang the scarlet in the window. Let the promise cover my home tonight. When the battle shakes the ground, let my faith be the light they find. Scarlet in the window. Not perfect, but I'm standing on what I know. Your God is the God of heaven and earth, so remember me when the trumpets blow. My past ain't clean, my name ain't pure, but faith opened up a different door. While the city trusted in its walls, I trusted in the one who rules it all. Footsteps thunder down the streets below, but peace runs deeper than the fear I know. So hide your spies, I'll guide your way. Just promise you'll return for me one day. Take this cord, tie it tight, call it ready for midnight. Mark this house, mercy for a faithful one. When everything around falls, new hang the scarlet in the window. Let the promise cover my home tonight. When the swords and trumpets sound, let my faith shine a light. Scarlet in the window. He sees the humble before the throne. Your God is the God who answers faith. So remember me. Remember me.
Mr. Ivan, how did you turn on the thing? Sure, can you hear me? I see.
The scarlet cord in
It's
the
perfect.
because faith can rise from unlikely places, and destiny can begin in the houses no one honors.
Mr. Ivan.
Where's the easel?
Yes. Last beer should be.
No, she's ready to speak. You know, I'm gonna make everything to leave. That's there. But obedience always opens a way. Where fear can walk. River running wild, flooding all the land.
Oh, but I don't
Beyond Joshua, waiting on the land. Feet at the edge, no bridge in sight, but he says, therefore, trust the Most High. Rock on the shoulders, walking slow, water looking deadly, but faith said go. Every miracle starts with a trembling step, and God moves in the places we fear the best. When the soul starts the riverbed, the water backed up like it heard what he said. Every promise he made started clearing the way. Just walk today. Cross that Jordan, don't look back. Stepping through the heart turned black. He made a highway through the deep path where hope and heaven meet. Cross that Jordan, stand up strong. Every step says his promise still lives on. Dry ground under trembling feet. Go claim the land you're meant to reach. Yeah. 12 stones lifted, placed by hand. The memory set for the children of the land. So when they ask you why these stones, tell them how the mighty one brought us home. Not by swords, not by might, but by the God who parts the night. Every tribe walks side by side, carried by the one who never leaves your side. He made the water stand still high, still high, still high. Gave you ground when you thought you died. Walk by, walk by. The road ain't clear.
Now, typically that's the not.
Hold on, stay strong. Cross that Jordan, don't look back. Bondage in a promise intact. He made a highway through the deep where faith breaks down and giants sleep. Cross that Jordan, rise up, oh young, walking in the story that the prophets told. Dry ground under trembling feet. This is the land you're meant to reach. This is the land you're meant to reach.
Several family members that are supposed to be here that they hear something.
Let me just scroll through this real quick. You'll be like, you know,
So
All the people of the earth might know the hand of the Lord, that it is mighty.
the picture so
All the people of the earth might know the hand of the Lord, that it is mighty. All the people of the earth might know the hand of the Lord, that
here.
it is mighty.
Which one? You get in the front more so.
No. Then you're not gonna turn it.
Okay.
How?
Either way, you know, it's your turn, brother. You driving. You driving.
Some miracles wait until your feet touch the edge.
That's that point.
Courage writes the next chapter.
Flat foot man was staying sit.
And it came to pass at the seventh time,
So let me.
when the priests blew with the trumpets,
Yeah,
Joshua said unto the people, shout, for the Lord hath given you the city.
that's a big helmet.
I didn't know I might go out for the little 20 years I've been rich.
For real? So I'm talking about. Now we go back though. That's undeniable.
70 years back too, in real life.
It is. Back in the day.
Yeah, don't say it like that.
The day. But that's what we are gonna go ahead and get started. Time wise, we want to make sure our guy gets his time here. And I want to say greetings, everybody. Thank you all for coming out to the Vineyard Neighborhood Association. This is the Shifting Paradigms presentation in collaboration with the Vineyard Neighborhood Association. But this is the voice of Shifting Paradigms. So we're not, speaking for the Vineyard Neighborhood Association in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But we do have, let me make sure this is sharing properly. We do have a monthly event that we do here called First Sundays in the Vineyard. And we like to make sure that our community, one, has a voice, and two, we have conversation. The mission of Shifting Paradigms is to stimulate critical thinking for the purpose of reshifting our narrative and redefining our reality with conversation for the purpose, and which Coogee Chocolate. Anybody know what Coogee Chocolate is? Don't look back over there. They got a marker. Anybody know what Coogee Chocolate is? What's Coogee Chocolate? It's a principle from Kwanzaa that's self-determination. So we try to move to self-determination. Everything we do should be and need be self-determined so that we can create our own reality, not be subject to the programs and the spells that are being cast in the world. I wanted to start something new today. I wanted to start something new. Before we begin, I did want to just always invite the Most High into our space.
Yes.
And so if you are so inclined to repeat after me, one thing about African tradition, they're call and response. Y'all know that, right?
Yes.
We have a call and response, and we're gonna actually read Psalm 23. Y'all know Psalm 23?
Yeah.
Especially today's time. If we don't need Psalm 23, I don't know what we need. Right? So we're going to read along. This is a Psalm of David. So I'll say a verse, you repeat after me. So God is my shepherd, I lack nothing.
God is my shepherd, I lack nothing.
Yah makes me to lie down in green pastures, and leads me to water in places of repose.
God makes me lie down in green pastures and leads me to waters in places of repose.
Renewing my life, guiding me in the right paths as befits the divine name.
Renewing my life, guiding me into the right paths as befits the divine name.
Though I walk through a valley of deepest darkness, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me.
Though I walk through the valley of the deepest darkness, I feel no harm, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me.
You spread a table for me in full view of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My drink is abundant.
You spread my table for me in full view of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My drink is abundant.
Only goodness and steadfast love shall pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in God's house for many long years.
Only goodness and steadfast love shall pursue me all the days of my life. I shall dwell in the God's house for many long years.
Amen, amen. Hallelujah. So definitely, these are times in which darkness does abound. And so we definitely need to be more light. We invite the light of the Most High to our life. And on that note, I want to introduce you all to our featured presenter today. We do monthly presentation conversations. And this month, Brother Jeff Bowlin is going to be our presenter. I met this brother a couple of years ago at a poetry reading that one of our mutual friends, Tia Williams, was hosting at the Black Archives. And he asked me today, bro, why? Because I said, you got light, bro. People need to see light, and he is an author, he is a father, he is a man of the community. And I just saw, him for who he was when I first met him, felt his energy. It was like, yeah, this brother got a voice. And the reading that you shared with the people during that time was essential because, fatherhood is important. Yeah, fatherhood is important. We see the results of the lack of fathers in our community, and we need answers. You know the problem. We need answers. And I believe this brother has a good voice to share in putting a solution forward. So without any further ado, I want to introduce you all to Brother Jeffrey Bowlin. BBetta Bowlin. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Well, thank you for having me. I am truly grateful for this opportunity to share some of my passions. And this is just the beginning. There's some empowerment think tank that is going to come together, and we're going to find commonality, and we're going to dumb it down to the sense where commonality makes sense. And so I have a spin on words and analogy. I wrote a book. It's called Walking in Quicksand. And so the quicksand basically represents the invisible dead, things that actually slow us down. So there's a call to action. So as we transition from 2026 into 2027, it's essential that we elevate our cognition and become life literate, preparing ourselves for the past our futures will unfold. The mental process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and the senses, it includes perceptions, sensations, ideas, or intuitions that emerge from this process, which is what cognition is. And we're wanting to heighten that. By deepening our understanding and embracing the journey, we position ourselves for growth, adaptability, and the next steps to our evolution. So now in the years ahead, we have the power to embrace our fears. We will transform fear into an acronym. Fear. Fear. What is fear? Fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that something or someone is dangerous, likely to cause pain or threat. And I have an acronym for fear. So finding excellence after redemption. And then we're going to focus, which is the center of interest or activity, the state of having clear and purposeful vision. And that acronym would be finding obstacles causing useless stress. So this conversation is meant to go beyond surface level thinking, inviting you to explore yourself more deeply, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, financially, as well as health. So the aim is to identify common ground through consensus, so the solutions can emerge as your understanding grows. And the consensus that we can find commonalities is to focus solely just on food, clothing, shelter, education, employment, transportation, health, safety, and security. Once we know that that is the goal, irregardless of the ideology, that's the commonality. And that first commonality that we share is turning our failure into fuel, trauma. Trauma is at the beginning of our lives. We are born, we live, and then we die. The main part of that trio is to live. And when we are living, we are born into trauma. So when one is born, someone dies, or when someone dies, one is born. And then, of course, we develop whom we become through 0 to 10. But we don't know that. But those that come before us do. They can tell us exactly what we did. So we are born into trauma. And that trauma is something that I am wanting to discuss here that has created a soup that we've been eating. And that soup comes from generational poverty, all the generational curses that we're afflicted with. Racism, illiteracy, the absence of a father, of course, labels and shame, that actually the words that we use will make us go from 0 to 60 in less than 30 seconds. And then the outcomes are so much greater based on the choices and decisions that we make. So my goal is to turn that soup that we've been eating into a vegetable stew. And how we get that vegetable stew is we're going to add. And that add is not taking anything away. Now, if it it allows you to put old habits away, it's only for the better. So I'm here first to look myself in the mirror to tell me, and this is what I've discovered, and I had a yearning to actually want to tell everyone, because it starts with self, it starts with family, then it boils out to our community that has been infected with this soup that we have consistently been eating. And all groups are affected with this soup. You can be rich and still in the quicksand. And the quicksand is something that slows us down. You can be condescending, arrogant, addicted to drugs and things of that nature. So it doesn't matter. However, I love us. So I want to talk about us, because mostly we're always on the bottom of all of them. So that's where let's find the commonality versus arguing or debating against what should we do. If we have the commonality, then we're going to be able to create an opportunity that allows us to grow. Because I look at where are the programs that are consistently teaching young men how to tie ties, young boys, young girls how to sew, taking them to science fairs and leadership conferences and museums, showing them different from what they come home to on a daily basis. So we have normalized dysfunction so much that these are the things that I call quicksand. So anytime you hear the police, somebody just jumped in. Some of us are neck deep, some of us are chest high, some of us are waist deep, some of us are knee high. Some of us are even ankle high, but sometimes don't be too careful, because those that are ankle high could have went in head first. And that quicksand is not going to kill you, but what that quicksand is going to do is going to slow you down. It's going to cause you stress. It's going to cause you what we now have become. We no longer deal with the human value in people. We deal with the human characteristic that has been created based on one's own individual life experience. And so with that, that creates that spectrum of characteristics that we deal with on a daily basis. So this is the behavior that I study. We become manic depressed, schizophrenic, bipolar, levels of anxiety, isolated, addicted, and then we go outside. We have to go to work. That's why there's road rage. We're upset with our job. We're mad at the position in the life that we are. And so then we're going to get into how we can actually find that equalizer. We're going to get rid of the justifier. The justifier is blaming everyone else. And I'm going to ask us to actually look ourselves in the mirror. And as we are looking in the mirror, we're going to grow. And I think that this soup will turn into a stew if we actually discipline ourselves, and then most of all, value your choices, decisions, actions, words, responses. Because anytime the room controls that, you have lost. And so that's where the quicksand comes into play. Now, when we talk about that stew and how that stew gets created, we have to start with our trash bag. And that trash bag is going to get rid of all of the toxic things in our families, in our lives that exist, such as our exes, our family members, our bad friends, our past. One thing we cannot do is change our past. And we never live the same day twice. So when we allow our past to dictate our future, we have lost. Quicksand. So as you hear it, hopefully it resonates. Man, look, they're in the quicksand. Don't stop. I want us to do that on a consistent basis, loving each other, creating that balance. After we do that, we have to put our ego to the side. I'm a forever learner. I learn every day. I'm not the aficionado on anything, but I know will take the time to research and will study and most of all read. So encouraging people to read is the second ingredient in trying to recover from out of some of the quicksand. Our brain is a muscle, and we go to the gym to get our legs and arms strong. But we never go to the library. We need to introduce our kids back to the library. Reading will create better diction in the words that you use, will create better understanding in the words that you use, because words matter. Once again, the words we use, because we talking at each other versus to each other, will make us go from 0 to 60 in less than 30 seconds. And then what? The outcomes are. So I'm walking away now. I used to come right to it. So I use myself as this example, and I think that it is relative to all of us. This is the commonality. Talking about the commonality is where we need to focus on. No one's trauma is bigger than the next. It's at the height of yours. And what it produces and what it creates is what we are now dealing with. And so as we build our brains, as we throw away the trash, and then we start to elevate, looking into financial literacy. Financial literacy is important. We come from generational poverty, but we want generational wealth. How do we achieve generational wealth? There's steps, processes to everything that we do. So if we are injected with poverty, how do we get out of it? We got to do the research. We have to gain the knowledge to become financially literate. When you become financially literate, which means understanding checking, savings, banking, and most important, investing. And I like to talk about that anymore because that's some of the things that I do on a professional side. However, once you gain that literacy, you have the ability to create financial stability and you're stable. When you're stable, that allows you to explore more to create financial freedom, additional streams of income based on the talent that you have. Everyone has the talent. Once we have that financial freedom, now you start the beginning of generational wealth. So financial literacy is something that's totally left out. The absence of a father has been totally left out. And just to give you a preview of some of my writing in the book, I was asked to write a letter during Father's Day about when my daughter was 15. She's 31 now. And I wrote something in my book that is called Holding On and Letting Go. The most unforgettable day of my life was February 22nd, 1995. The day I watched you enter into this world, a whirlwind of emotions, joy, happiness, and fear overwhelmed me as I realized my responsibilities had just changed forever. With a strong family support system, including an incredible mother and sister, I felt ready to raise you. From that moment forward, I no longer lived for myself. I was eager to introduce you to my family, where they were just excited to guide, teach, and mold you into the remarkable woman you were destined to become. I remember the little things and how you mimicked Granny and recited your ABCs and grew through cheerleading and Girl Scouts, basketball, and you became a teenager. I saw an incredible transformation, and it inspired me to keep instilling in you the values that shaped our families: faith in God, devotion to family, commitment to education, and nurturing your talent. So the balancing act, the hardest part of fatherhood, is been deciding when to hold on and when to let go. I hold on because you will always be my little girl. Life can be harsh and unpredictable, filled with heartbreak, disappointments, and challenges. So when you hurt, I want to take that pain from you. And when you're happy, I want to share in your joy. Holding on feels like protecting you from a world that can be dangerous and uncommon. But I let go because you are becoming an incredible young woman. You are navigating life with unique talent, your beautiful singing voice, and an unstoppable determination. You have made me so proud, and I know you are capable of achieving anything you desire. So letting go is difficult, but I trust you will face obstacles with wisdom and confidence. A father's love, this love I have for you, is the deepest I have ever known. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you can decide not to let those experiences define you. Don't waste time complaining. Instead, strive to change what you can. If you can't and change isn't possible, shift your perspective. And when you do, the way you see the world will transform. No matter how independent you become, never forget that I am always here for you. And interdependence creates strength and trust. So if your heart is broken and your workload overwhelming or life feels stagnant, please share with me your burdens with me. Together, we will find solutions, because we all have a higher self and we have a lower self. So when you choose to embrace your higher self, your outcomes will improve. So my promise to you is to protect you, shield you from life's uncertainties, and guide you through its toughest moments. To listen to you, your thoughts and questions matter, and I'll always be here to hear them. To support you, whenever your passions or priorities may be, I'll stand by your side cheering you on. You are a queen, a strong Black woman with the power to shape your destiny. So look to the remarkable women in your life for the guidance and inspiration. Their strength will instill in you the confidence and grace to someday become the matriarch, backbone of your family. Each year you will grow more certain of your path, your beliefs will solidify, and your temperaments will evolve. You'll navigate relationships, peer pressures, challenges with grace. Through it all, keep intact your faith, your self-confidence, your self-reliance, and your self-respect become the pillars of your future. So building our bond, I will do everything in my power to nurture a healthy father-daughter relationship. I will listen to your thoughts, challenge you to grow, and support you unconditionally. While friends are important, you also need adult role models to guide you, offer advice, and help you discover your true self. You are deeply loved, and I promise to invest my time, energy into being present for you. You need to trust me with your feelings, hopes, and dreams. Know that I value you. I will always be your safe place in this world, a sanctuary where you can seek refuge and understanding. Your bright future unveils when you build self-confidence and self-awareness. You'll never feel the need to fill a void with harmful behaviors or destructive choices. You won't rebel just to be seen or act out to get attention. And when life feels overwhelming, I hope you look to me instead of turning to the sources that lead to despair. Life is hard work, but it's also a learning experience. So treasure that process. The parent-child relationship we nurture today will blossom into a strong adult friendship tomorrow. Family is everything. You are unique and special with gifts and talents that will lead you to inspire. Always seek to improve your circumstance and never be afraid to ask questions or try new things. Stay healthy, laugh often, and live boldly. So a final word, never lose yourself for a man before you have found yourself. That's a woman. Never allow a man's money to dictate your worth or choices. Stand in your greatness and let others recognize it on their own terms. Through all life's twists and turns, know for certain that you are loved. You're fine. So the impact of the father's absence and those that are present, we have to become more of the visual and not the examples that the stereotype places us in. And so that's also an antidote to the vegetable stew. Along with understanding psychology. Psychology is very important because then it allows you to understand some of the turmoils and things that you are going through will create better questions that you can ask yourself. And the questions that you do ask yourself leads to that mirror. And that mirror is your best friend. Because when you are holding yourself accountable for everything you do. So by doing so, use positive affirmations. We stay negative. We are so negative that we don't understand or underestimate the positives that are in our lives. That one thing supersedes that I'm alive and my family's alive and I got a job, I got a home, I got transportation, I got employment. But that one thing can change the direction of the main course of your life if you're not cognitively strong enough to handle these kinds of things. So this is the quicksand that I talk about that we live in. And that mirror is so important. Raising versus rearing. Because we all raise our kids. How many of us rear our kids? We are rearing our kids, we are rearing them into a profession. And that profession, typically, if I'm a doctor, my kid has the capabilities of being access to becoming a doctor. And I want to focus on creating the next scientist, doctor, lawyer, engineer, farmer, things that we actually need more so than the athlete, entertainer. They're not our leaders. And that's majority of us think that and are led by materialism. I don't wear any Gucci Gabuki. I don't. And I encourage us to be careful when we do, because we are enriching them. And if you don't invest and get some of your money back on your return, it's a part of some of the ignorance that we carry, some of the quicksand, things that slow us down, and we have the access to do it. But because of fear and unfamiliarity, we will not do it. So anything that's presented new is automatically rejected until you get comfortable understanding why it can benefit. So I always ask if there was something that would benefit you, would you at least consider it? And that opens the window for, so what are you talking about or whatnot? And so once we get these things in action, that stew starts to smell good. You come home to your family, and then we start to remember that embrace when we met our grandparents, or see our parents, our friends, and you run up and you hold and hug them. And as I state, the conversation solely was to create an ethnogenesis, creating a village back to the essence, understanding the core problem is through trauma, and we still can find commonality if we focus on all the things that we need. And that is what actually slows us down in our community, because we have all these subcultures inside of our culture. And then we are afraid to identify. I'm more of a Pan-Africanist because the Caribbean and the continental and the Canadian and the European African, we have similarities, as well as history and things of that nature. One of my favorite quotes is from Martin Luther King, as well as, I'll get to that here in a second, Dr. Runoko Rashidi. What you do for yourself in large measures is what you think of yourself, and what you think of yourself in large measures is what you know of yourself, and what you know of yourself is basically what you've been taught about yourself. So if you've been taught that you come from nothing, you may tend to act that out. Now, if you know that you come from greatness, you may shoot for the stars. And I believe in hardcore thinking, allowing us to be able to think. My book is Walking in Quicksand, neck up, not neck down. Because majority of us, what are the three ways we think? Instinctively, emotionally, cognitive. Majority of us think from the neck down, and then we cause our own despair. So this is just one thing that I'd love to throw on the table and engage more and be more consistent in this engagement with this empowerment think tank. I like to link up with like-minded interdependently. Interdependence kicks independence tail anytime. And so with that, I do appreciate your time for listening. Thank you. Changing the way you look at things and the things that you look at will change. The problem is in the mirror. Good news, turn around. So is the answer. Because we never live the same day twice. Isn't it evil and vile to live backwards? And each one of those are the same word. If you knew better, you would do better. So just do that.
Powerful. We like to open up for questions. Well, let me say this too. We got some refreshments on the table. So, if y'all got a little something you want to put on your palate, we got some juicy juice. We got some water. We got little veggies over there. It's chickpeas, sweet potatoes, a little spinach, some onions, and some salt, and some seasonings and spices. And we got some veggies and some fruit. We got some cookies. So if you feel like you want to get something to eat, you're more than welcome to help yourself there. We also have dialogue. One thing that we really want to do is start talking about these things. And what Brother BBetta has presented, some issues that we got to really find the answers to. We know the issues. So let's talk about resolution. What is our resolution? And he just, laid out this platform of improvement, through knowledge, through healing, and through the different processes and mechanisms that we can do to become a better people, which requires each and every one of us to contribute to that, right? So what thoughts do you all have? Let's talk about it. Let's chop it up. And you can definitely facilitate and lead that, my brother.
Sure. I mean, first, any questions?
How do I get your book?
Remember that. But I am on Amazon as well. I'm retooling my website, as well as updating. I have a clothing line, and so I got some really great ideas, and things are really coming together. So I have cards in the back that you can use, and I'm available. I want to create that relationship. I'm starting from the ground up. I don't know anyone. And to have this brother give me this opportunity that I've been waiting for. So this is where I think will give us an opportunity to actually talk about some hard, sensitive, delicate, layered, nuanced concerns that we have. So once we do find out and narrow down to what affects all of us, that's the commonality. That's the solutions moving forward. Not, well, if I don't believe in this, or if I'm not doing this, I can't work with that. That slows us down. And when we focus on us, like I say, teaching young boys how to tie ties, as well as first and foremost listening to the kid, especially in this world of technology. So listening to the kid to be able to help them better navigate to this thing that we've been through in what we call life. We all have less time up than not. Our kids got a lot more time than us. So the time is now. The time is now. The time. We've had so much loss in our lives, all of us. And it's time. So I'm ready to challenge, question, and to examine, because you cannot fix what you fail or refuse to acknowledge. Oh.
So I'm gonna ask you this, right? I know, I'm just gonna be transparent. Like I'm a father with 3 boys with 3 women, right?
Yes, sir.
And I know when I really was pressed in reconciling that, attempting to anyway, that fragmentation is real. Brokenness and just putting things on top of the issue that you're dealing with as opposed to really dealing with the issue. I mean, and I know a lot of our brothers are like that. We mask ourselves with so much, and we hide behind our masculinity, which becomes toxic, and we really don't want to get vulnerable, even with ourselves sometimes. You know what I mean?
That's good.
Like, how do you find, or how would you suggest someone in circumstances like that to really acknowledge their own pain, bro, and take the steps necessary to heal, and then because I'm present in my boy's life. That's something I will definitely say. We pray every night. But we get frustrated and just check out, right? What kind of insight can we offer brothers on that note? I mean, even as mothers of our children, like how can we find what's best for the children?
Sure.
As opposed to just being like, you know what? You know what I mean? Like we take it on the children basically. So how can we, remedy that?
A couple ways to consider. One, biologically, I am 50% man, 50%. I am 25% my grandparents, 25% my parents, and then my own genetic makeup, such as my sister. So my mom has a mom and dad, and my dad has a mom and dad. You know what? My grandma has a mom and dad, and my grandpa has a mom and dad. So we can go back to 252. We have that understanding that we're not familiar with. So gaining knowledge of self definitely is one of the things that us individually, as men, as women, need to come to understand. There is a unique dynamic when it comes to the Black man in America. And I can go back to the emancipation in 1865 and go every 10 years and see the systematic and institutional attack on us. And since the 40s, we didn't get afforded the GI Bill, but we fought in World War II, nor did we get the FHA law. And then, of course, in the 50s, we integrated, and integration, I don't know if it was good or bad. However, we're integrated. And in the 60s, the Welfare Act came and took the Black man out of the home. And then in the 70s, Papa became a Rolling Stones. And in the 80s, you had the crack epidemic. And at the end of the 80s into the 90s, we were called super predators. They created the prison industrial complex. Right. When we've done that in the 2000s, the police have been brutalizing us, and we are being exposed on a daily basis well into 2027. So each year we can actually start understanding our plight, better gauging our plight, being around ourselves, being able to communicate, being able to understand those frustrations. We tell our little boys, don't cry, don't let them cry. Not too much so they become little sissy, but expressing their emotions. It's okay. We have always been stopped in the experiment. When we go to the grocery store, what did Mama say? Don't you get out of line. You better stay right here. Don't ask for nothing. Do nothing. But when you go in the store, little Tommy's running around, and you go, man, I can't do that. You know, at all these kinds of things. I use the rain analogy, the little raincoat analogy. Yeah, little Tommy, you want to get your raincoat? You can go jump in that puddle. And as soon as it rains, little Tommy gets to go outside and go splash. Whereas little Gerard, yeah, Gerard, we're gonna get you that raincoat. And he's all excited. And as soon as he gets ready to go jump in that puddle, his mama goes, boy, you ain't gonna tear up that raincoat. The psychological things that we put in place, and we aren't even aware of that we're doing these kinds of things. So some people feel they're not in the quicksand. I don't have a problem. I got a job. I do okay. No, I don't have any problems. So we are actually avoiding our problems. And so being a man, being a single father, going through that and the negativity of it, that war lasted for good 15 years until I matured myself and said, I have to actually acknowledge it. And one was I had my daughter critique me. And she broke my heart. In a way where I was not allowed to respond to the critique. The critique was designed for me to actually take the words that she used and then try to understand so I can become a better father, communicator to her. And so when you actually have your child critique you and don't say, girl, all this money I done spent on this clothes I done got you, this I done done that. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. But then they end up in their room, the doors closed, and then you lose touch, and then you say they crazy, and then when they do something, I didn't teach them like that. I always say, you want to know who your kids are, look at their parents. If you want to know who their parents are, look at their kids. Now that's tough. And I don't mean to do that, but it actually happens. So it's something that until we are ready to take responsibility for us, unwinding the dysfunction we've created. Man needs woman. Woman needs man. I don't want no woman. I don't need no man. I do this. What if the man said that? Then we never get together. So sacrifice, commitment, and coming together. And then knowledge of self, as well as taking responsibility, irregardless of the storm. The force field is put about you when you do have a kid and they don't want you to see and use it as leverage, and the anger and anxieties that we do go through as men. So that, and being in a real sense, because we all have a story or an example. And I think listening to that creates the soup. Not addressing it creates the stew. Not addressing it keeps us eating the soup.
I like when you said taking accountability as parents. A lot of parents don't do that. That's the problem. For me, I have adult children.
Sure.
And I have, within their lifetime, I have apologized to them. So it's like, I'll think back on things that I said or, situations, and I'll have a conversation. And I will say, I apologize for that. I didn't mean to, but allow them to come to me and share, or just ask the question. Because I remember one time it was so crazy. My daughter, she was 16 years old, and she would come home. I would ask her, pick her up. How you doing? I'm good. How was your day? I'm good. You know, that 16 them teens, right? And so at one point I was gonna take the latches off of the door because she would come in home, go straight to that room. But sitting down at a table, eating at the dinner table, you get a lot of conversation at the dinner table. But I would say what you said, if parents would be more accountable to situations that we put our children through.
Yeah.
We didn't know because we were children as well, right? We just learning as well, functioning. But when we get it and when we understand it, we got to go back and we got to apologize. I did not mean to do that.
It's a healing mechanism when you
Yeah,
can actually look at anything you thought you were doing good and you find out, man, wow.
Yeah.
You know, and we also have to understand our great-great-grandparents were slaves. They were stripped of knowledge of self, of history, of anything. And then so our grandparents are born into trauma. Not even, we were chattel, we weren't even considered human. And then we become human, or being allowed. And that's where I want us to understand one thing about that human aspect, because when we say people of color, we are putting our own selves in a box. We are the most melanated, and then those that are the least melanated control the money, the resources, and the land. We have the ability to do the same thing. And so I want to replace that. So, because the majority of other folks never really want to talk about race. They don't want to talk about color. And then we say the people of color and we're Black, but I'm brown. Dark brown, but I'm brown. Other than, let's replace it with hue. Because we all come from that human family. Every group suffers from obesity, poverty, trauma, death, violence, loss of life, loss of employment, every group. So it's not a point at our group, but I'm spearheading the ability to corral our group into understanding. So, yes, ma'am, thank you for your question.
Piggyback off of what she's saying, because I'm in my 30s and it's like trying to connect with my parents, there's a disconnect, you know, because they have a hard time taking accountability. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I try to be patient, you understand? You know, because I mean, I feel like my mindset is a little bit different, you know what I'm saying? Our mindset is kind of what puts us where we are. So it's like they're not seeing things from my understanding. And it's like, I can understand that from you, but I still need you here so we can get to an understanding. So, but if it's like you're not trying to help me help us. So it's just like it's hard. So at a point you just be like, you just whatever, you know, forget it. You know what I'm saying? You kind of shut down because it's a brick wall. And it's like now I'm beating myself, like, because I'm keep going to the brick wall. It's not getting through to you, so now I'm harming myself. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like, you know, it's
well, finding that happy medium, opening the arena for communication, and I think that once those kinds of things, first and foremost, have you sought out professional help?
I mean, it gets declined, you know what I'm saying? So
Even through ministers, pastors, or whatnot. Someone that can be a mediator for it actually opens up the arena for that hard question that is about to transpire. So utilize more of the options that you have versus thinking it's exhausted and giving up and working for the embrace and the relationship that you share with your parents, because they are your creator. So please find ways. And then hopefully as our relationship begins, I can start throwing some things at you that maybe can unlock. Because once the adult actually becomes the adult and acts like the adult, they shouldn't have a problem with wanting to engage in the differences that they share. So finding the why is most important in confronting it. We have to do these hard kinds of things if we really want to move forward. We pray for it, but with no action. The prayer does not happen because we have to actually do it and then take accountability from it.
And that's the thing, like, it gotta be two-sided, like, because once it's one-sided, like, I mean, there's nothing you can do until they're ready, so it's like, you can only do so much, so. I mean, it's never a giving up, but it's okay, well, leave this here, you know what I'm saying, because you can beat yourself down, you know what I'm saying, trying to fix this relationship with your parents or whoever, when you can maybe put the energy elsewhere.
Sure.
Into your kids, or like she was saying, like, she's starting and she's building it with her children and fixing it with her children, like, so maybe just move that energy from that until they're ready, because it has to be a two-person to tango, so.
But I did a lot of healing.
Yeah.
I did a lot of healing
Yeah.
for me to open up, to
Mhm.
be able to listen to them.
Mhm.
So first I healed, then I allowed them, I'm sorry, then they were able to talk to me
Yeah.
and share anything. So now we're at a stage where they can tell me how they feel, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna listen, and I'm not going to judge it. I'm gonna listen. See, some parents, we don't listen. I mean, they taught me how to listen. Cause at first I wouldn't listen. It's not something that I just woke doing.
Right.
I had to heal me
Yes.
and then move on to help heal them, what you were saying.
Yeah.
And then the generations will change. But that's the only way it's gonna change.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying, like, we gotta heal, you know what I'm saying, you have to want to, so, I can tell, like I said, I can understand from my parents, like, because their mindset is different, so it's like, I respect you in that aspect, but like a person on drugs, they're not gonna change, no matter how many times you send them to rehab, unless they want to change.
Right.
So it's just like, yeah, that healing is what we need in the community, one within ourselves, and then we can integrate into having these type of conversations and things like that, but it definitely comes from inside, so that's why I give them that, I give them that space or whatever, but it's just like, yeah, once they're ready, I know once they're ready, then we can start.
But until they get ready, you
Exactly.
don't worry about,
Yeah.
pray.
You just focus on you and your continuity.
Yeah.
Because hurt people hurt people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so until they're ready to acknowledge what they are and whom they've become, you can actually heal from anything. You really can't.
Yeah.
It can.
To understand.
Even to realize that you're actually a part of doing some of that thing, so.
One thing parents, I believe, want though, is for their children to be everything that they can be the best self. Like all parents, regardless of if they express it, or regardless of if they make you feel that way, they want you at your best. Because most parents want the pat on the back. I did a good job, even if it's you healing, through your own process. So I have that same issue with my mother at this big age that I am. But what I have noticed is I stopped worrying about when we're going to get better and started giving myself to him. It's like, what make me better? Because then you'll put me in a situation to where they gonna have to come to me because the God in me is going to attract them. You can't keep focusing on the past and try to build a better platform for tomorrow. It's impossible. So the way I look at that is, since parents want us to be the best that we can be, most parents teach you that even when they're absent. You can have a crackhead as a daddy, you know what I mean, a drunk, and when you talk to them, they like, just make sure you're doing good. You be all you can be. They're gonna give you that uplifting, even if they don't help lift you up, right?
Correct.
So I think our goal and our determination should really be to be the best us we can be, and then the universe will gravitate what's supposed to happen and what's not. And I believe God's creation, like you said, we all got a parent, a mom and a daddy, and a mama and a daddy, and a mama and a daddy. So once we make that stand, hey, I'm healed. I'm not gonna allow this generational curse that's gone where your mama died and you wasn't talking to my grandma and then we're not gonna do that. So I'm not going to punish you for where I think you lack. I'm gonna just be the best I can be. And then if we're allowed to talk one day about it, cool. But if we never talk about the pain that you put me through, at least you can see that I've healed from the pain and I'm willing to accept you regardless of if we talk about it.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. When you can embrace and take responsibility for your now. Who are you right now? And what has shaped you that creates the behaviors that you espouse?
Yeah.
If you aren't working on changing it, you're not gonna affect what it created or made you.
Right.
So the best way is just to focus on you, compete against you.
Yeah.
I want these guys to stop competing against everybody else.
Yeah.
He's got Mercedes and he's got a big house and he's a manager. Thank you. Awesome. And you teach us how to become bigger
That part.
without and leaving the ego aside. So this is the invisible barriers that we kind of have placed our own selves in. And these arenas and forums a lot because everyone is right. This is an add to. It's not a takeaway. It's not to tell you what you believe is wrong. When we focus on what we actually can control. And from here on out, throw can't in the trash.
Yeah.
Don't even use that word. Because you can't.
That's good.
You got something you want to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, me and you had a talk some years ago, cousin. I was so victimized. Why? And you talked to me and you was just like, "Pull yourself." I was like, what do you mean? Told me, like, humble yourself, Tina. Let people tell you, maybe some things that not really critique you, but you just let me tell because I was being a victim and so defensive about everything. And you told me to take time out and listen to people. I took out time out and listened to you, and I heard you that day. Ever since you told me that, I really did a 360 in life.
Wow.
So, 11 years or 4, I don't know, 12 years, cousin. And I'm still working on myself, but when you told me that,
Every day?
I stopped being a victim, and so a lot of us are victims. We don't realize it, we're in a situation in a mess, but it does start with us.
Starts with us.
So you have to look at yourself and stop being a victim. And people are here to help us, but when we need it, they are here to help us. Sometimes we just don't see it, don't want to accept it, but it takes someone, to kind of bring the nudge you and, tell you something as simple as humble yourself. That's what woke me up. So thank you. So,
Eric, what's up? I got it.
What's up, man?
What's up?
Nah, I don't put my hand.
Okay.
The question.
Yes, ma'am.
This is crazy, but it came to my head, so I'm just like, in Black families, pedophilia, coming from slavery and however our ancestors and cousins were, what they call them kissing cousins in Arkansas, whatever, pedophilia is something that has been swept under the rug a lot in Black communities. Well, I have a daughter, right? And she told me something has happened to her, right? So I remember telling my mom and nothing happened. I remember telling my grandma and nothing happened. So help me, y'all, okay? Because what I want to do with this family reunion that I'm not paying no dues to, right, is I want to go speak up without words for my daughter, because to me, that stops this generational curse of you can do this to me and my mama ain't gonna do nothing about it, right? But I know that we're not supposed to, vengeance isn't out. Like, I'm struggling with that because I have in my mind that the way that my daughter is going to feel like her children are going to be able to, talk to her about it is to actually stand up and step up for her. And it's not just saying anything, because a pedophile hear what you say and be looking at the kid next to you like, and I can't wait to get my teen. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm struggling with that whole vengeance isn't mine, but still trying to break generational curses by letting a child see, hey, this is not okay. And I'm not going, my love for you will not allow you to have to suffer from, does my mom love me? Because if she did, why didn't she do this, or why didn't this happen? So, in your opinion, everybody's opinion, how do you handle situations like that?
And what I would like to do, leading up to your reunion, we're gonna put everything on the table, make sure that the atmosphere is gonna be, once again, we're emotional people. This is a highly delicate topic. So we're gonna try to start building and using our cognitive abilities to be able to think of ways that is gonna make this actually happen, right? So to break generational curses, there's a great book, it's called Buck Breaking, what they did to us in slavery, had us have intercourse with each other, breaking the spirit, and all these kinds of things that have happened in that dynamic. And so, yes, pedophilia, molestation, abandonment, abuse is real. And then, different siblings, you have families with different brothers or different sisters, and how did those stories go? And how did they come up with these family secrets? I have friends that now have died. I'm close to 60. So I now have friends that have died with secrets. And I had a friend where a son came to his funeral, and that's when he met him. I'm at So we want to try to be able to open that womb. If we know whom that person is, we probably want to maybe get someone as a mediator into, this is a discussion and whatnot that I'm going to have in front of the family. He's prepared. Because once again, words matter, and we'll go from 0 to 60 in less than 30 seconds. And then the whole thing doesn't even go through for what we're wanting to accomplish. That's the cognitive ability that we actually have. So that pain and vengeance and things that you have is real, and it's okay. However, we're going to shape it. And please use me, and let's work on this so we can make sure this thing works out for the benefit of everyone. Everyone gets a lesson from this one experience, because it's not just you and that. It could probably happen in several of the families, and no one's willing to talk about it.
Can I add on to that? And I like what you stated about minimizing the emotionalism from it, because
It's really hard to do. But when we don't actually train the brain.
And I thought I had, decreased all the emotion. And I'm like, you know what? This ain't even the emotional side to me. This is logical, because his uncle that started with all of us, I thought it was just me. It ended up being 10 of us. And he still can come to the back.
so this is
How to be around it. So how pedophiles.
So we're finding commonality. So those that have endured the crises and the trauma, we're gonna get with them. We're also gonna come with a unified voice because of this. Then we're gonna be able to talk to and allow the perpetrator to know that this is the forum that we're gonna present this. This is actually near and dear to our family. And so we have less time up than not. And so we're gonna leave all of these kids that have been affected because of our trauma that we passed on to them. And when we're gone, then the disconnect even further. I became an insurance agent, life insurance agent, a couple of years back, because I saw people dying and then the living separate, fighting over material things, and then siblings not liking each other and all that kind of stuff. And it really fragments the family. And so this forum allows you to ask that question, allows us to come up with have a think tank that can throw ideas out that then are relevant to your individual situation, that can shake out the dead bugs. And then so everybody can then come back. Because when we were kids, our entire family, one side or both sides, but we would go and we'd have fun and be together and see each other and whatnot. Now we're individualized, we have our own dinners, and we don't go over here because she don't do and he don't do. And so we have to, those are generational curses And that's the quicksand, even us as adults, I can do what I wanna do, we're still, we gotta stop that. Cause we actually love that person, and we don't wanna see them leave.
That would be an intervention of some sort.
Yeah,
So it's the intervention, you know?
may I add to that one, because I was gonna say, like, you know, the formula in the scriptures is like what Yeshua said, I know the Messiah, Yeshua. Take 2 witnesses with you. But now in your case, you said you got multiple witnesses, so bring all them witnesses with you.
Yeah.
Pray for repentance first and foremost. You're praying for repentance for the individual to be convicted of what they've done and to acknowledge their wrong and to then seek to make restoration and atonement for that, right? So pray for that. And
See, that's the
then,
difference, right? That's the difference maker, right?
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Unloose that stronghold. That's a stronghold. So pray for that stronghold to get torn down. You know what I mean? And then confront him in a righteous way, though. Confront him righteously. Like, oh, you know this is wrong. And we're here to let you know we're not standing for this anymore, right? And you're not gonna do this to any other child in this family. That's not gonna happen. Because we're gonna let you know this is not gonna happen. And it tells us, it says, if they hear you, you've gained a brother. If they don't hear you, it says, treat them like a tax collector or a Gentile. You brought that on your own. Now, this is your choice. How you wanna move with this on you?
Uh-huh.
If you wanna move righteously, we can make this right. If you don't, well, we ain't got nothing to do with you. You might as well cut him off. That's cut off. So however that goes, how that goes. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately.
That's where that's what the life has come to, the sacrifices we got to make if we actually wanna actually see solutions happen. So I think that's the right way. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, just make sure whoever you communicate to confront him, make sure they're in the right mindset, because I didn't cut that myself. I'm ready to go with you. So I'm saying, oh,
Yeah.
you know, so when you're talking to whoever you're talking to, make sure they in the same mindset. You have this. It needs to happen.
Well, that's
I
why-
got mad.
Well, that's the thing, when you guys come together,
And the family
You have-
doesn't
you're all
have to
that
be
can
the people that
identify
come
with the
together.
traumatic
Yeah,
experience.
it could be.
now you'll come with a unified
Yeah.
deal, and then you're going to end
Yeah.
generational.
Cause when my aunt brought it to my grandma and we had this whole big meeting, that's when I found out it was kids younger than me and I felt horrible, like, dang, if I would have told, maybe I could have saved that life. Man, my grandma said, if y'all didn't tell when it happened, what y'all talking about it for now? And then the pet about what my grandfather or whoever he is, he was accused of watching, right? But he was dead. So therefore, when it was brought up, it was like my uncle, y'all spoke about my daddy while he gone. So now the pedophile gets away and then the victims are now attacked. But I believe my grandma did not pray that. Let's pray for repentance on this person before we confront this person so that the Holy Spirit can shift in the room before we come in this room. And I think that makes a huge difference, you know, and I have to take that in since I am the spiritual warrior. That's who I stand to be. You have to pay for that, pray for that repentance. And it might not be family that is my spiritual tribe. It might be some of us, like, hey, we going in here as a community. We don't just want it to stop for this family. We want it to stop.
Oh,
Right,
right.
Stop. You know, and then these neighborhoods are safe. Grandma can go outside, the
Yeah.
kids can go outside.
Yeah.
Because we are identifying that we all are in the same boat. And then we can go up to the big ship, or we can stay in the raggedy boat.
Yeah.
And then justify it, you know, and blame. So no more blaming,
Yeah.
because until you blame yourself first.
That's good.
Something you had said too, made me think about this, what you were saying, safe spaces. Like if we're not creating safe spaces, and that's what we're a part of the safe space, because how we respond or how we react in conversation with people is going to determine how they respond and how they react. So if we trigger them back, it ain't gonna be no breakthrough. Y'all just gonna be hollering at each other and just like not listening no more.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta find a way how to speak to people, even if they tripping, we gotta maybe take a step back, breathe a little deeper, count to 17, something like that, and then find a way to respond that's gonna make them think. We just gonna trigger them and be like, wow, they just gonna now everybody high. Everybody ain't gonna hear nothing.
When we can learn,
Create the safe space.
when we
like
can
that,
learn
too.
how to transfer communication in its proper form, it will get so much better for you. We here to respond. when we should listen to acknowledge.
Oh.
So when
And you said we want
Yeah, you gotta say.
we're here to respond, we listen to acknowledge. And that's what the huge difference is. There's an art to listen. Most people want to assume, insinuate, or think they got it with their opinion that's not backed by any data, statistics, peer review, science, history, book, timeline, or any of those things. So when we are become better listeners, you then, anytime you get a question, repeat it back. Give your brain some time to respond versus just respond. So now you hear and then go, so you said, so now you acknowledge. By acknowledging, you allow yourself to access. When you access what that person is saying, it creates a better response that you'll get. Because you always got somebody saying, you see what I'm saying, or you know what I mean? Well, I didn't mean it like that. So we have to be very careful. That's why words matter, why words is in this toxic soup that we've been eating, because we'll throw words at each other. And then we have loss of life and we're absent in the trauma. And so communication, truly, reading helps create better speakers, and listening helps create better speakers. And so, yes, these are the add-ons, add-tos, or bring back, because this is nothing that has not been done. We've always focused on food, clothing, shelter, health, home, education, transportation, safety, and security. Everybody needs it, so that's our commonality. That's going to keep us moving forward if we stay focused there. Understanding trauma is the headway, and then which one you are on the spectrum, grab it, embrace it, and then let's learn from it, grow from it, get better from it. Don't use it as the excuse or the justifier. We're going to find that equalizer. And part 2 I'm coming out with is going to be called the maze. So this is the beginning. What does this create? And that maze that we're born into. So now we're born into job versus career, business versus government, and all the ups and downs of life, loss of relationships and employment, and situations that we have to make huge decisions. And so, are we ready to win? We'll follow that up by actually putting together real-time solutions. So with these engagements that we're going to have, it's going to allow me to actually compile, and we'll create a curriculum. Right now, I have a 4 to 6 week program for young kids. And then, of course, I have the young adults till 25, 30. And then, of course, the adults. And we're going to be able to create these programs that actually reward good behavior, discipline bad behavior. Discipline isn't just discipline in one thing. Discipline is discipline your entire life. Your job or your life and your family is your first business, not the one you go to get the paycheck. Yeah. When you treat it as such, our outcomes are gonna come. We're gonna learn how to invest. We're gonna buy land. We're gonna be able to create centers where everybody wants to be us. Everybody emulates us. They dance like us. They want to look like us. We are the number one consumer as well. And we're on the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to wealth and income. And so those things are important to me, not what I'm wearing and what I'm living and what I'm driving. And if we stop competing against each other, we are moving ourselves, picking ourselves out of the quicksand.
Any other comment? I mean, I got something on my mind that has recently taken place that I think this is the perfect time to talk about it in light of quicksand, in light of everything. Y'all want no snacks though? Y'all want no snacks? Y'all can don't feel shy. You know what I'm saying? If y'all want to get something to eat while we're talking. I'm gonna keep talking though. I'm gonna keep talking. So this is something that I want to talk about. On April 29th, there was a Supreme Court decision on April 29th. I love y'all. Got voting. They got voting the rights away. So,
Do that even matter for us?
that's what you gotta think about. That's right. What is voting for? I can change anything in the contract. You know what I'm saying? The point of changing is so.
Right.
And I thought something.
Yeah, I want to talk something. So, because that's the benefit of that, my thing. I'm looking at what benefit though.
He was. He 1 year.
Yeah, I'm looking at what benefit. People just. But these people are still first, just a point. So, I'm following around, the average woman, because I'm ready to go fire, next month act. But yeah, I thought it's. I would like to know everybody, I'm putting that. Does that affect us? I guess it doesn't so much. No, I'm thinking it's. I was talking about I came there, it's coming in, it's just like, that's a home. Okay, every day. The first person, that's a thing you feel. Honestly, you have to. It's not real. I feel like I'm making change. I got the part being free. It's the fish. I was plugging this. Stop that. It was angry. You feel like you gave me $2. And let's go right. For the family, yeah, I'll do my. All right. Which is class. You married. What for New York? You sure? That was it's I'm so God. You forced to make the face try to box. I mean, I'm mad for it. You don't have to. Back then, it's real, but what's the inflection? That's a mutual power. Yeah. Mutual fight. What's the still mad? Above the gas. Every block. Yeah. Yes, yeah, with the pandemic, you hear about the things start to have place to have and it's really nice to hear kids still. But that I think and that is right. How far to we're going to think of it as so much like the best classes. Even something like I want to do music. And I still have the place. Now you can't even try it here. Like I put a basketball ball yesterday. Well, you know, telling you they play the absolute first. Yeah. I said, I'm gonna let you. I'll split them legs. What? I said, wait, you come in here. You go to the hands to your eyes. Sound sad. Oh, but I did. I said, I'm going to the toy game. Lives. I'm not listening. He said it doesn't know himself straight out. Yeah, it's the right. You have a book of anything from here. But I first there. Your first grade.
It's chickpeas, it's spinach, sweet potatoes, onions, some spicy, some
Is it like a salad?
it's like hot and hot. It's I use
No, like a bitch.
It's like.
yeah, like I said, that's a family with it too, that's all like that.
We're student. Some parts of it.
Everybody who's been looking at how they friends, see the kind of thing there, they were looks so bad. Well, yeah, everything left me up there. What's going on over there? Oh, you said I was following yesterday. Yes. Doctor and my friend, you know, everybody. It was they had that money over there yesterday. Then they had SHFTNG down in the west bottom. They didn't have Hawaii like the friend. I'll tell you. You see one good move. Like that.
So I was saying, right? The Supreme Court ruled 6-3 on striking down the Voting Rights Act. Right? But Sister Tina was just saying, what has voting done for us over the 61 years that we've been giving vote? What did it really affect in our community? What really had an effect? But the point that I'm making is this. These things that are taking place are meant to solidify it. Help us understand we have to govern ourselves.
Yeah.
We've been dependent on external people giving us some the community used to keep the block. You get whooping from
Anybody, everybody on. Not only, yeah, see.
we're governing ourselves. That we're not gonna act like that when it's locked. But we let that go, right? And since last time we were here, you know, it's now called the hood. It ain't called the neighborhood no more. They have a name song.
Now what, that's it.
I ain't even realize. And so these are the things that we have to rectify these things.
Right.
We have to correct and bring the right order back. And if it's not us, who gonna do it? All right, you know, the police ain't doing it, they killing our baby. They killing our baby. So these things that are taking place, we have to recognize for ourselves what is required of us to do in this time. You know? And how can we get the youth brought up with the right mindset?
Yeah.
Right? So these are the different forms that we need to have. Let's make sure that we are spreading this. You know, our here,
Right.
just take wherever we go and do that light, that positive. That's what you're saying. What's the thing? Okay. Talk about.
Yeah. All right, we got.
Yes.
You don't like it now. Yeah. Everybody gets that.
You're not gonna watch me eat. How about that?
I feel like, I mean, I don't, and to believe, you know, I'm getting this right now.
Which we should be.
Yeah, as far as the like, we should be, just over the years, it just seemed like really our votes and we've been misled. Lied to, got so many people against us, it's just ridiculous, so I don't even know what that means. That they blocked our, whatever, the vote.
They try to grow the rights away from us. They don't want their.
Like, what is it, I mean, right.
The people, they're trying to do that project 2025.
Cause
It's already in effect. They're trying to get.
already anyway, like,
Yeah.
Bring it out.
So by them redistricting and taking away, what we call it, seats, Democratic seats from Congress, that's gonna give Republicans the majority over everything. So basically, they're trying to run this to where the president is not gonna end up leaving office. That's why they're trying to have this war keep going. Well, wait a minute, the excursion they're on right now over in the Middle East.
Excursion.
Yeah, I think they've been excursion. Not a war, a conflict, it's an excursion.
War of words. Look, war of words. War of words.
I think the biggest thing that we should deal with in politics is more concerned here locally
Yeah.
and city and county.
okay.
Worrying about the federal level,
Mhm.
which we don't actually feel we feel the impact of what they do on the federal level. We can actually feel more when we are electing the officials we need to put in place to make our communities safe. So
Okay.
we have to start focusing locally,
Okay.
our city officials. Understanding how government and politics works,
Right.
without understanding the opinions and things of that nature. So I think that's more of a grassroots and learning how to vote. Once you go to the voting booth, and who, do you know all the other people?
Nope.
You know who they are, what they represent? You're not necessarily real, that's why the vote isn't.
Okay.
So vet those people, our senator, our governor, what are the roles of a senator and governor? What are the branches of government? And how do they work and how do they affect us?
Right.
So the literacy aspect of is a part of the vegetable soup, students. So it's some of the ingredients becoming politically illiterate. I think it's something we all should be more focused on than a lot of the others. Because it affects our pocket. We go to the gas station, we go to the grocery store, we get 4 items and it's,
Oh, right line,
and so
right line.
which ties into the financial literacy. So all those things work. There's a solution or an option to create a solution in everything that you're facing.
With my job the other day.
And that's the purpose of these forums here.
Solutions. Not complaining.
You know. That's the site. I said, "Father, you know, I'm going to you. Not like them, I want to spend a lot of it.
And also, I would say, you know, with this World Cup coming up in Kansas City, the World Cup coming up in Kansas City,
No, man, can't see some about the meat rack.
and I'm saying there's a lot of different ways too. So like awareness is gonna have to go up.
There's gonna be a lot of sex trafficking, a lot
There's gonna be a
of.
lot of crime. There's gonna be a lot of, cause like soccer fans are the wildest fans that they are. When you look at a soccer fan,
I mean, they're diehard.
That's what
they are like,
I mean, it's the number one sport in the world.
and they ruthless at times. Literally. Awareness.
You're not supposed to. I feel a lot. You know, declining and canceling the hotels and whatnot because. Yeah. Okay, so. No, I'm saying, keeping people, you know, right, people great. Okay.
Seriously.
It's budgeted.
How long I'm from TV, can you help but was $2 Talk about that for me, listen. Hey.
Yeah, really, it's, yeah, okay. Internet network.
You need to look at the flood. Thank you. Doing. For. I'm gonna get the bond with you. Yeah.
So now you feel it, if. You're on.
We want to call.
Like that.
Really
nice. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's all too reason. But yeah, it's an option.
No.
Thank you all for watching. We're gonna close it down early.
So,